Hey everybody, this is Ray Flip, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool. I'm actually going to be doing a little something in the film area today. For those of you who don't know, Bleeding Cool was lucky enough to attend this year's Tribeca Film Festival in New York City and got a chance to check out games, television, and also a couple very cool films. And one of those films I want to talk about today is Cargo, which is based on a 7-minute viral video short film that was done by Ben Howling and Yolanda Ramke, who also serve as directors, and Yolanda Ramke serves as the writer for this big feature film adaptation which was done for Netflix. This version stars Martin Freeman as Andy, and those of you who don't know who Martin Freeman is, and you should obviously, you would know him as Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit, you would know him from Sherlock as Watson, you will know him from a bunch of projects, you know him from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Also stars Simone Landers as Thoomi, as a young Aboriginal girl, and there are a number of other people here. The reason why I want to cite both of them because they're going to be part of my pro list on what I really loved about this film. Let me start by saying Cargo, and this is going to sound like a con, but it's not meant to be. Cargo is not a zombie film, is probably the best way to put it. If you're going into this film expecting horror and, oh my god, thrills and haunted house and everything, this isn't for you. And I want to say that up front because I don't want you to go in with unrealistic expectations and come out like not enjoying the film, if you know what I mean. But Cargo is for somebody who wants to deal with the realities of what a tragic pandemic outbreak could be like, and in a zombie real world situation. If I was going to connect it to anything that I cover, it would be the Walking Dead series is probably the best bet. But again, it's in that classification, but I also don't want to make it seem like Cargo is not its own thing. It does touch upon a lot of the basic tropes that we're used to. You know, the concept of father protecting son and on a journey. The zombie aspect of it, and the parent and the child dynamic, we've seen that even just recently in Maggie, the Arnold Schwarzenegger zombie film, which is very also underrated. You should check that out. The concept behind a lone wolf and cub, a lot of these things come into play. So I don't want to say that the overall concept behind our Cargo is original. It's not, and that's okay, because my feeling is always with a film there are two ways you can go. You can either be original, or if you're going with a concept that's done before, I just want to see that you're really embracing it and going with it and adding little subtleties and nuances and emotional bang that's going to make me care. Again, just give it a nice, good polish on something that I'm familiar with that makes me go, oh, I want to check this out also. Let me give a little background about it. Martin Freeman plays Andy, who in the beginning of the film we see on a riverboat making his way down with his wife Kay and child Rosie. Tragic accident happens on board a boat that Andy goes on board to try and see if he can find food and medicine that results in him and Rosie having to escape, and in the process of trying to get his child to someplace safe, he runs into a number of individuals. And again, at this time you have to be careful because the dangers there are both seen, you know, people we see with the riverbank people with the flashing of weapons, like, okay, just to let you know, you're not welcome here, this is the danger you're waiting, and of course in these situations the dangers that can't be seen. In this regards, I would have to say, and I think I would probably look at it upon the Vic Lorraine scene, I think, is probably the best way to put it. When they stumble upon a native Australian area where they're at, he takes them in and he introduces them to his wife Lorraine, and we see essentially a contrast between the characters, and we see exactly what Vic and Lorraine do to stay alive. And it's interesting because it just feeds upon the worst aspects of racism and a lot of the social issues that have gone on and continue to go on Australia between the Aborigine and other citizens of the country, and we see it really harshly played out, and it's that harsh playing out that we get to the Andy and us, we get to meet Thoomi, who is an Aboriginal girl who is essentially trying to protect her father who's been turned, and trying to protect both herself and her father from her sister Josie, who's looking to not only put their father down, but is on this mission to scorched earth, cleanse the country of anybody who's infected. So you essentially have Annie and Thoomi running from these same two situations who are finding their lives entwined, and you see the basis for that moving forward in how all of this plays out. And again, I don't like to specialize in spoilers when I'm doing my reviews, so just to give you a general idea and the setup, but I do want to touch upon some things that I really enjoyed and took out of the film. First, the look of it. I want to make sure I get this right. Jeffrey Simpson does the cinematography. I cannot it's amazing. You can make something look so beautiful and large at the same time, let it yet make it look so small. And I have to give the look of the film a lot of credit. I know it's cliche to say it was its own character, but it really was. In fact, there were just these beautiful moments where I just really had to keep reminding myself, this is Australia. This is the Outback area. This is the country, and this isn't just some special effects or things that are going on. Just, it was really impressive. Again, I could feel claustrophobic at certain moments and just feel like I could reach into the screen and just be out there. So again, I give a lot of credit to Jeffrey Simpson in that regard. The second thing I want to say is the two main actors, Freeman and Landers. Martin Freeman, I know a lot of times we see him playing these roles of the reluctant hero, the hero that isn't necessarily born to greatness but kind of has greatness thrust upon them and how they deal with it. We see that with Watson. We see that with Bilbo Baggins. What I thought was interesting about Andy, I think Andy was the closest I've seen Martin Freeman play somebody who's just like average. Not television movie average, if you know what I mean. Like, this is the closest I felt to him playing somebody who really I could connect with and was with on this level. And I think the scenes between him and Vic stands a very interesting contrast. I was talking before about the two types of men. And this, initially your thinking would be, well, I want Vic more than I would want Andy, nothing personal. But as you see more of it play out, you get a sense maybe Vic isn't the one who's necessarily going to be the survivor and who outlives this. And if he does survive, what's going to be left of him both physically and mentally in the long run? So I think I give Martin Freeman a lot of credit. He really holds this together. You feel for him as a man who is willing to do anything to do right by his child and whatever that's going to mean. With regards to Landers at Thoomi, just a brilliant find. It's her portrayal of a child who now has to be the parent for a father who is suffering, and that contrast of the parent-child dynamic that you see play out between Andy and Thoomi, I thought was just amazing. I cannot stress that enough. I thought was on so many levels what really made the film, and is worth the price of admission in regard to that. It just, again, credit to everybody involved, but it really comes down to the dynamic between those two. And I think a lot of people, when you see it, you'll agree, they make this film. And that's the other thing I want to say, too. And again, I may have mentioned this as a con before, but I don't mean it that way, because I don't think they're marketing it as that. But I think when people hear zombie, they come in with certain expectations, or if you feel, undead or living dead. This is a heart-wrenching, beautiful, touching film that just takes some horrific aspects as the background, but it is a movie that can apply to anything. You could have just picked any real epidemic out there and set it during a time period, and this would have meaning to it. That's what's beautiful about it, is the sense that it took the genre and just really polished it and nuanced it and presented to us in such a way that says, look, we can talk about fantastical ideas and still give you something that is heart-wrenching. This is a movie for people who look at The Walking Dead or things like that and go, oh, I get really disconnected from it. From an emotional standpoint, this is the type of film that will get those people to go, okay, now at least I can see where the parameters and the limits and the boundless limits that this genre can go. And I give Cargo a ton of credit for that. I think it is going to be a fantastic find on Netflix when people go to check it out. I was pleased and thrilled to have a chance to go and see it during its run during Tribeca Film Festival, which again I really appreciate. But again, I can't recommend it enough. Please make sure you go check out Cargo, directed by Ben Howling and Yolanda Ramke, starring Martin Freeman and Simone Landers, also written by Yolanda Ramke. Definitely worth checking out. And again, it posts and lands, drops, or whatever cool phrase you want to use on Netflix streaming service next week, so please make sure you check it out. Thank you guys for enjoying, hopefully, my rambling. I'm Ray Fluck, television beat writer / now film beat writer for Tribeca Film Festival. Going to have a couple more reviews coming up this week, but also cannot emphasize enough, make sure you check out Bleeding Cool at bleedingcool.com. We have great coverage of everything across the pop culture landscape, under the pop culture sun, comic books, TV, film, collectibles, video games, and anything and everything. Please make sure you check us out. Hi, Ray Fluck. It's Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys on the inner tubes. Take care.